We're gearing up for the Superpole race here for the World Superbikes and the Dutch TT. Welcome to the TT Assen circuit, a motor circuit that's been here for absolutely donkey's years. Let's head down to the grid then and join our broadcast team as we get ready for all the action.
Well, it's time to get excited here at Assen. We are just 6 minutes away from the Superpole race with air temperatures of only 14 degrees Celsius. And as you can see, it is wet here. What are they going to do in terms of tyres? But in terms of excitement, never mind the Superpole race, what about the latest edition of TNT Sports Blindfold Challenge? We had Petrucci and Montella back in Portimao. I wonder who's taking on the challenge for Assen, the cathedral, this weekend.
Hi everyone, I am Toprak Razgatlıoğlu.
I'm Michael van der Mark and we're here doing a blindfold challenge. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're cheating. Wait, let's start it. 1, 2.
Hey, you need to go left, yeah. You sure this one awesome or?
I think there's an extra chicane.
Oh my god. Similar.
Wait. You ready?
Same, yeah.
What is this?
Like this, a little bit dog, but
Where's your track?
I'm just watching you. Okay, I'm starting.
Okay. Okay, start finish.
Yeah.
Turn right. Left. More right. Yes. Back. Chicane.
My one I think is not so bad. This is my feeling.
Without blindfold, you do the same.
On the bike I feel like this, not like this.
Who's the winner?
I don't know.
If you know the answer, you're the winner. How long is the track? How long is it?
I don't know. 4.6.
I think he can be a winner because it's 45-42. You win this one, I win the weekend.
I hope. Deal.
Those two are great together, aren't they? I mean, a little bit of cheating going on there, James, but I don't know what's more difficult, the blindfold challenge or riding Assen in the greasy conditions of this morning.
I would much prefer to be drawing a track on an A4 piece of paper this morning, that is for sure, Greg.
Yeah, me too. Now, before the Superpole race, we unfortunately had some very, very sad news here in the paddock yesterday. The passing of Franco. Now, he'd been our race director here in the Superbike World Championship since 2008, but involved in the paddock, and what a lovely man he was. One way or another, from 1993. He got in at the end of last year and we lost him yesterday, unfortunately. What a lovely guy we've lost, James, and what a contribution to motorcycle racing safety.
His name might not be familiar to everybody watching at home, but Franco, in our family here in the paddock, was exceptional. His consistency and his commitment to his job. In life, if we're lucky enough to meet some amazing people that lead by example, aren't we? That we can learn from. And Franco was one of those people. He was a dear friend of mine, and it's a huge loss for our family here in Superbikes. And I wish all his family and friends all the very best, and rest in peace, Franco. Absolutely wonderful man.
Yeah, and all our thoughts with Stefano Carloia in particular, his son, who is now the race director and in his honour has continued with his duties here at Assen this weekend. .10:58 local time in the next few seconds. The warm-up lap begins. This is the Tissot Superpole race in very difficult, greasy conditions. If you're just switching on, you can see that the track is very wet indeed. It is not raining now. There are strong crosswinds outside. A few, but only a few, breaks in the cloud, as you can see at the top of the screen on some of the shots. James Tozen, how on earth do you approach a situation like this?
with care. I think that's the most obvious thing I can think of just off the bat there, Greg, for that question, because it is tricky. And why it's tricky here at Assen, as you can see, turn 3, you are on the side of the tyre a long time. And when these superbikes with over 200 brake horsepower are on the side of the tyre, you've got about a first-class stamp width of contact between the rubber and the ground. And those tyres with the cuts in, they disperse about 5 litres of water per second, depending on how wet the track is, but sometimes it's just not enough because the horsepower compared to the grip, it's pretty gnarly.
Everybody on wet weather tyres, nobody's taken a risk on intermediate tyres. You see the clear crash helmet visors, the larger knee sliders. What else would you change, James, in terms of your riding gear and your bike for weather like this?
Softer suspension, because you haven't got the grip underneath you with the tyres that are putting the force through the suspension like it normally is in the dry with slick tyres. So because there's not much grip, there's not much force going through, so you have to have much softer springs, so you get the same kind of travel on the front and rear, same weight distribution from the front to the rear. You're basically trying to get the same balance and movement on the bike in lower grip levels as you did in the dry to the wet. And we can maybe shorten the wheelbase to put some bit more weight on the rear.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key factor as well coming into this. Exactly what are we going to witness here tonight? Come on, systems, kick into gear, please. I need you to work. Okay, let's get the rider tracker open and get all set then for the race running. It is the Superpole race. Sam Lowe's on pole position from Bulligat and Top Rat Rascaglione. Then Bassini, Bautista, Locatelli, Petrucci, Gardner, Alex Lowe's, Iannone, Agata, Montella, Vandermark, Lucanoa, McKenzie, Redding, Gerloff, Vierge, Sofagulu, Rabat, Vickers, O'Halloran and Zahadi at the back. It's a wet track here at Assen. What are we going to see? Lights on! And pull the throttle back. Little jump there from Sam Lowe's, but they all get away cleanly as they head down to turn 1. Great start from Bassini. He's going to go right round the outside. He's going to battle with Bulliga and Toprak. And into second place goes Bassini, and Sam Lowe's runs wide. And we've got a fall already at the back. The 53 down on the deck as well. And that won't bring out a red flag, but that is a big one there down to the first corner with just dropping the front. I think there's 2 riders down at that moment as well. Yeah, I think Gerloff and well, we'll see how Halloran's dropping. Yes, Tito Rabat and Vierge have crashed out. A few other riders slipping, flags around. But running wide was Sam Lowe's, which means now that we've got a different running order at the front because Nicolo Bulliga has taken the lead of the race. Top ranks into second. Locatelli taking third place as we dive on the inside. Andrea Iannone has absolutely no fear, taking third. Locatelli back up the inside line, coming through turn 8 on the inside line, puts the power back down. No jump starts, says race control. That's the good starts to come into the really damp part of the circuit. Downhill, you can see Vierge's restarted. Rabat, however, is out of the race, so he went down and barrel rolled. I wonder if the bike just couldn't restart. Javier Vierge has restarted, though. That's the best thing. Locatelli up ahead of Andrea Iannone, the 2 Italians battling together. Avio Bautista just behind. Sam Lowe's has dropped down to 9th. He was jumpy at the start and then went wide. I feel really sorry as well. Oh, I know what's happening here. Tam McKenzie, Ryan Vickers got Gerloff. Andrea Iannone's on the inside, he's gone wide. Yep, Iannone's gone straight on through the chicane. I hope he's not gone through the gravel and dropped it. He's beached himself almost in the gravel. He's still upright, but he can't get out. Now he's kicking himself on the floor, and he's escaped the gravel trap, but that's lost him all positions. He's down now to 21st position. Vierge be catching up with him. Iannone now trying to get going, checking there's no things on, no gravel on the front of the bike there. Toprak's already battling with Bulliga. They've already dropped Locatelli, and Bulliga's going to have to go defensive into 3. Toprak doesn't care about the conditions, launches up the inside. Not much lean angle into turn 4, but Toprak takes the lead away from Bulliga. After Bulliga dominated yesterday, Toprak in these wet conditions, this is where he starts to come into his own, and that's really, I think, all you need to see about that angle, about how much battle, how much intrigue there is in this race strategy, and how much it sort of needs to grow up together as well. And it's getting a bit darker out there as well. It's only a Superpole race, it's only 10 laps in length, but yeah, anything can happen as it is getting a bit darker out there. Very dark, in fact. There was sunshine in the first sector, but sector 2 and sector 3 looking a bit worse for wear. I wonder if it'll start raining again. No sign of that on the weather radar. Iannoni's not competing. He's out of the race. Just double checking that. Yeah, it's in the 21 and the 99, but we can't, and the 77 with Agata, but we can't see Andrea Iannoni. So he's out of the race. Vierge is trundling around. He's nearly going to be lapped by Top Right. You can see on the tracker there as they once again go on the attack. Oh, nice. Over the line we come then. 8 to go. Fastest lap to Top Right Razgaliolu. It's a 1:45, and Iannoni has officially retired from the race. Right, let's check in with what TNT thought of that mess.
Damage to his bike and the Go 11 team. What have they got to do this weekend? Now, the two Lowe's brothers then, James, together on the track. Behind them is Gardner. Then it's Montella going well. Van der Mark is 9th here at his Dutch home circuit. Bassani, remember, he took the lead almost off the line and then ran wide at the first corner. And who's that coming through? It's almost Sam Lowe's coming through, a bit of side-by-side behind as well. That's Van der Mark as we look down from the drone, fighting with Bassani.
Yeah, apologies to Locatelli there. Obviously, it is Iannoni that I was talking about just previously, and Sam Lowe's now, his next victim is his brother, just in front, Alex Lowe's, and Sam looks like he's getting some really good feeling from his Mark VDS Ducati at this point.
Yeah, he put in a load of laps, didn't he, in the warm-up this morning, but Remy Gardner is waiting for the fireworks. Michael van der Mark trying to go with them. Taz Mack is still in 11th position. You can see him at the top of the screen on the turquoise MIE Honda. Different to the factory Hondas, they have Olin suspension. Taz has Showa suspension, and Bautista now is being caught by Locatelli. In fact, he's been caught by the whole pack.
Yeah, Van der Mark as well, just on the back of this second pack, shall we say third pack, because Top Rack is starting to put the pressure on. It's gone from 0.6 to 0.8. Now it's back to 0.6, so Nicola Bulliger is keeping Top Rack honest. Here comes Sam underneath Andrea Locatelli into turn 14. That is a wonderful move in these conditions. Now, Alvaro Bautista is going to be 2 in 2 corners. That's a little bit far behind Sam. No, I'm pleased he thought second on that one.
And we're just hearing from our TNT team downstairs that we've had some late changes just before the 3-minute board, James. Domi Agata and Bahatin Sofoglu switched on the grid from wets to intermediate tyres. So Sofoglu on Agata on intermediate tyres. That could pay dividends in the closing stages.
No.
Right, that explains why they are so far behind on the rider tracker. You might be able to see it for yourselves on our monitors. It explains why they're separated by so much in the sector times as well. So, what's their lap time? 1 minute 51, 1 minute 50. We're doing 1:44s in a sprint race. No, that's never going to be good as Bautista at the inside retakes Sam Lowe's. Lowe's trying to come back on the inside line as we come down in towards turn 7. We've got just behind Locatelli if he's going to have a go. And out of the race has now retired Javier Vierge. He's officially retired. He knew that it was probably too much after that accident at the start of the race. So a wise decision. He has retired from this event. But is Top Right Razgaliolu going to keep on with victories as well as they're going to go through? On the inside of Bautista and through into third position goes Sam Lowe's. Much better run. There's confirmation for Javier Vierge has now retired from this event. 1.237 for Top Right from Bulliger. 2.417 down as now here we go again. That's Van der Mark trying to have a look on the inside of Remy Gardner coming into the final sector just on the inside line. Couldn't get alongside. And into the deep braking zone of the chicane now. On to lap 4, well, lap 5 of 10. 4 complete of the 10. 6 laps remaining. Again, just a little look at the inside. Van der Mark's got the run on Gardner into turn 1. Late on the brakes. Nicely done for the home rider. Up into 5th place. That's more like it.
It is the fact that Alvaro Bautista is struggling in that second part of the lap where they're all over the back of him. Scott Redding is charging now. Scott Redding went off at the first corner and is rejoined and he's on the back of this group. Look at Taz Mack. He's going underneath Bassani. Taron McKenzie is up to 10th place and there's Montella going through on Alex Lowe's.
Oh,
Taron
fabulous!
McKenzie on the inside. Where do you look next?
Well, remember Moss last year? We know how, a couple of years ago, we know how good Taz McKenzie is. Number 95 on the MIE Honda. Here he comes on Alex Lowe's Lowe's next, and like you say, Greg, Scott Redding also underneath Axel Bassani just behind.
Oh, no, what
does
a
take
move!
Alex.
One BSB champion passing another, and they've both raced here many times before, of course, in the Bennett's British Superbike Championship, which returns here to Assen, the cathedral, later on this year. Taron McKenzie now is up into 9th position, and Redding now going up the inside of Alex Lowe.
Redding's
Alex
up.
is shaking his head. Something is clearly very, very wrong with his sector. He's going backwards. He's about to lose another one to his teammate Bassani. But James, if it stays like this, Taron McKenzie's going to be on row 3 of the grid later on for race 2.
Yeah, good point. That is a great point. But you can see the BMotors are not hooking up, are they? Because you can see them both together, Alex Lowe's and Axel Bassani through turn 12. They are not having a fun time. It looks like Alex Lowe's is also having problems with his visor, because when a rider tries to move some moisture away from the front of the visor, he's having issues.
It's drying quickly, look, through the chicane. A bit of a dry line, at least on the
exactly
racing
what it
line.
is.
We do have very strong crosswinds, and this track dries much quicker than others. But look at the slingshot Van der Mark's got. It's like he's been fired out of a catapult. Straight ahead of Locatelli on the run down to turn 1. The Italian's coming back, though.
But he is. We know he's tenacious, isn't he, Andrea Locatelli? And that pushes Van der Mark off the circuit. Be careful. Look how deep the curbs are coming back onto their track, and I thought Remy Gardner was going to take advantage of that.
Gardner's having a look back on the inside as well. It's not over yet. There's still problems. Van der Mark going wide. Gardner will be on the attack, and Montella isn't too far behind as O'Halloran gets ahead of Ika Lukanoa into 15th position as well. Toprak and Bulliger. Toprak now leading by 2.7 seconds. Bulliger, his dominance from yesterday has just dropped back massively. No idea how that one's come about as they turn through tricky part of the circuit as they come down through turn 7, 8 as well. The track is drying. Greg is right. The track is drying out here, big time. As up the inside, Redding gets through on the inside line of Taron McKenzie for 9th position. Times are changing. Superpole with a wet race is always exciting. There's always something just brewing in the background that you have to take a watch of as well, and just be careful that there isn't any drama or intrigue that is going to cause any issues. And Lowe's is catching Bulliger. That's an interesting little margin, as well as the steam coming from the back of the valleys, the moisture getting absorbed as the sun continues to break out here. It's 11-11 over in the Assen, so make a wish, and that's going to be for Lowe's to catch up to Bulliger, which he is. He's only 7 tenths behind, and Sam is closing very much dramatically. Toprak's ahead now by 4.3 seconds, and Bulliger must have made some issue there, as Sam's going to go on the attack as well as he comes through. Bulliger's off! Bulliger's wide! He's gone wide! And through goes Sam Lowe's into 2nd position! Bulliger's made a mistake into the first 3 corners, and Sam Lowe's, should we just see him go through on the inside? And Bulliger looked like he was standing at the side of the circuit. He's still running in 3rd position, but how did he make a mistake? Did he run in deep on the brakes? He lost 2 seconds to Toprak on that last lap. Sam closed him in dramatically. And there's something wrong with Bulliger's bike. Bulliger's looking down. He's got his hand up. Bulliger's retiring from the race. Something is wrong with the bike. He's got no drive at all. And the championship leader, for the first time this year, retires. Yes, it's only a Superpole race, but this is so critical for Toprak to start gaining in those points. It'll be down to 30 with now 29, and it's getting less all the time. Oh! The championship just continues to deliver surprise upon surprise. Toprak now leads by a comfortable margin. That sounds like Gearbox. What do the boys think on Team 3?
Or is it? And Nicolo Bulliger just had to restrain himself there from giving a knuckle sandwich to his Ducati.
Okay, this is where it starts to go wrong. He's run wide at turn 1, so obviously the problem was already kicking in at this point. Sam Lowe's goes through.
Well, he dropped 2 seconds before.
There is something really terribly wrong. I don't know whether it's stuck in gear, but it's almost like the pit lane speed limiter is kind of clicking on. But anyway, whatever it is, it's meant that number 11 there, the championship leader, has lost a handful of points. It's only the Superpole race, obviously, only half points in this one, but still, it is going to be a huge statement from Toprak Razgatlioglu to get one back on him here in Assen.
Toprak's got to make sure he finishes. You can still hear the bike making strange noises as he comes back in, and his body language is going to tell us all you need to know. The crowd, the Dutch crowd.
I like that, respectful clapping.
The generous crowd here giving him a very polite round of applause, but Buliga shaking his head. He is going to be absolutely furious. A technical problem then takes him out of the race. Had a technical problem at Aragon, remember, last year when he stopped on the warm-up lap with an engine issue, so it's not the first time it's happened. Sam Lowthen is second. Bautista here is third. And now Michael van der Mark. The crowd will be cheering if he gets through on Locatelli. Redding is already ahead of Montella, and now is attacking Gardner for sixth position. Rider ability really does come to the fore.
Oh, and we've lost commentary pictures up here in the box. Well, that's an understatement as well to say how bad this weekend's turning out to be. We've completely lost signal. Don't worry though, we'll still have radio because we'll turn on the world feed if I remember to plug in the right connector. Well, that's a dramatic one.
The decision to use the wet tyres was the right decision for all these riders, and maybe to be on the inters was just that gamble you had to make if you were Domi Agata or further down the field, Valentin Sabato.
It is starting to come back to him now, isn't it? But it's just a little bit too late. He's running the kind of pace of Petrucci in P13, but not good enough to make sharp progress.
You can see in this section of track a very clear dry line developing out there, and it's one of those things around Assen where it's so quick to dry, but you have to be in the right position when it dries.
Michael van der Mark sniffs an opportunity here to, at the very least, get the better of Andrea Locatelli. The problem for van der Mark and hopes of a home podium is that Alvaro Bautista is 2 seconds further up the road. So to have any hope, van der Mark is really going to have to put on an incredible spurt here. But look at how dry in this area of the track as well as the riders feel their way through.
Yeah, and this is why earlier in the race I was saying about how the track will evolve, and the drier it gets, the more the temperature builds up in the wet weather tyres, the more that the tread patterns move around underneath you, the more you lose your confidence out there. But a 10-lap race is different to the feature length 21-lap race, but so many dry places out in that racetrack now.
Michael van der Mark attacking in towards turn one. Of course, the fact that it's dry online means you've got to be very careful when you move your way offline. It's slippery there for Scott Redding as he makes his move on Remy Gardner, and case in point, he comes straight back through Gardner for that 6th position. Offline, it's still very treacherous.
Yeah, it is, and that's the tricky part of this one for all these riders, is trying to find your way to avoid making a mistake. And for Scott Redding, it's good to see Redding combative like this. He's trying to fight for a top 6 finish, which for Redding in these kind of conditions is probably the minimum he'd expect. But considering how tough the weekend has been, how tough Portimao was, it's good that for race 2 he's going to have the chance to be qualifying up in the front 2 rows of the grid. But a really good job as well by Jari Montella behind him on the number 5 machine. First time racing in these kind of conditions, he's acquitting himself very well.
Scott Redding continuing to close and attack. Michael van der Mark couldn't get the move done on Andrea Locatelli either, and it cost him a half-second through the first sector of this lap. So he's got to make back that ground again. Bautista looking safe in the podium spots. Remy Gardner then fending off Scott Redding for 6th place. It's worth an extra World Championship.
You're right.
So we're back with TV angles as well, finally. Apologies for that brief interruption to the broadcast. We are on the last lap as we see the 45 getting through on the inside. Scott Redding ahead of Remy Gardner. TV pictures having a failure up here in the compound. That's pretty much how we start with the day. But at least we didn't lose comms, so that was good. Ike Lukano in 14th position then gets ahead of Jason O'Halloran. Toprak Razgatlioglu is going to win in superb style. And I think that is how... Oh, and out of the race. Nicolo Buliga confirmed. Well, I was hoping he might be able to get out and at least overtake the intermediate runners. And that would have gone him up into 17th, but that's now going to really affect his starting position for race number 2. We're in for a fight back from Nicolo Buliga later on. That is something you can 100% be guaranteed upon. Meantime, Toprak Razgatlioglu is going to take another win. It will be his 61st career victory and his 4th of the season. Half the season won by Buliga, half the season won by Toprak Razgatlioglu. What will we have next time in race number 9 of the season? Well, it's a surprise how much consistency is key. Half the season, one each. Doesn't matter a bit. Still the gap at 20 points. Toprak Razgatlioglu wins the Superpole race in the Dutch TT Assen. Sam Lowes, a mighty second. Evio Bautista in third. Locatelli is fourth. Van der Mark fifth. Redding sixth. Gardner 7th. Montella 8th. Mackenzie in 9th. Ryan Vickers gets 10th. Bassini 11th after a mega start. Down off the track at 1. Drop back. Alex Lowes 12th. Petrucci 13th. Luca Noah 14th. O'Halloran 15th. 16th for Garrett Gerloff. 17th Dominic Agata. Sofagulu in 18th. Zahadi 19th. And out of the race in just 10 laps, Bulliger, Iannone, Vierge and Rabat. 2 Italians and 2 Spaniards. As a stoppie from Toprak, and Van der Mark congratulates him as well. We've got such an entertaining race coming up later. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It's going to be really good, isn't it? Let's check in with TNT before I think they're going to go to a break.
Finish the race. His championship lead down to 29 points.
So let's check in then with the world feed.
The weekend so far as well. I went down to the MIE box earlier, just before coming to the commentary box, and I said, have you done your rain dance? And for the Mackenzie, it was actually, they're looking for it to be dry. They want that opportunity to prove their pace in the dry as well. But obviously, putting the up on the third row of the grid, that's a massive boost for the Petronas MIE team.
Brilliant result for Toprak Razgatlioglu. Obviously, brilliant result for the championship as well, because Bulliger's 12 points gained yesterday, and Toprak's lack of pace. He was off the podium altogether, but he has hit straight back with a win in the Superpole race, and now we reset and go again. We're back to where we were at the end of the weekend in Portimao before race 2 here this afternoon.
Yeah, they both now have a non-score in a Superpole race, and we're down to 29 points between them. Toprak's got a bit of momentum now going into this afternoon. Most importantly, Bulliger's going to qualify 10th for race 2 as well, so there's a bit of margin between them.
First podium for Elfmark VDS and for Sam Lowes here in the Superbike World Championship paddock, and we can get some reaction with Liam.
Yeah, as you can imagine, there's lots of celebrations down here at Mark VDS. Leon Cammy has been giving bear hugs to absolutely everyone. Leon, what a result for Sam, what a result for the team. You've had so much success in Grand Prix, now you've got success here with Mark VDS and Superbikes.
Absolutely, it's been a little bit of time coming. Like last year was quite difficult in certain points, but the potential's there. He's got so much speed, and yeah, we put a better situation together this year for him, and he's done amazing. Like the speed's been there all weekend. He's put so many good laps in. He's put the graft in all weekend, so he deserves it 100%. And yeah, let's hope for race 2 that conditions are stable and we can do something similar again.
More of the same. We look forward to seeing you in race 2.
That's the plan. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, the forecast is for gradually improving weather conditions throughout the day here. So hopefully that is the last of the rain and we get an all-out scrap between Razgatlioglu and Bulliger. And the one thing we haven't mentioned in Bulliger's retirement, of course, is that it also costs him in terms of grid position. So that's going to give him a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, down on the 4th row of the grid in 10th position is where he'll line up. So he has to come through the field up against Toprak. And we saw what happened for Alvaro Bautista last time around, trying to come through the field in Portimao. So for Bulliger, you have to be tiptoeing your way around. You need to make sure that you avoid any big issues. But
and Taron McKenzie will start on row 3. Shane, he's just finished 9th, Taron McKenzie on the MIE Honda.
And I'll tell you what, he was having a very, very good look at Jari Montella, wasn't he, on the privateer Ducati there, just behind Scott Redding and Remy Gardner too. I've got to say though, Greg, hats off to Toprak Razgatlioglu. Missed the whole of morning warm-up. You know, they had a wet practice in morning warm-up, and he came out and within about 4 laps straight into the lead. What an impressive race that was.
Yeah, that is his 61st career win now. He's already 3rd in the record books. I know we have 3 races these days from 2019 onwards, but he's now, Shaky, just 2 wins behind Bautista for 2nd overall, behind only Jonathan Ray's 119. And we send Jonathan our best wishes again. Hopefully he'll be back for Cremona in 3 weeks' time. Jason O'Halloran continuing to sub for him, and Jason there got up into 15th place. That would have been a point, of course, in a long race, but it's only down to 9th in the Superpole race. And well, he's a little bit happier than he was at the end of yesterday. Toprak Razgatlioglu
straight into the arms of his manager there, Kenan Sofuoglu, 5-time world champion. Yeah, what a performance. I can't say how impressive that was to get to the front that quickly in those conditions. Very, very, very impressive.
And he'll be having a chat now, won't he, with Jan and Ju? We saw him embracing Toprak. Jan going out a little bit later on for his Super Sport race. Having said that, though, the Super Sport race is right through at the end of the day, so who knows what the weather's going to be doing by then. And sure enough, you know, on the very last lap of the race, on his intermediate tyres, Domi Agata did set the fastest lap. Had that been a long race to full distance, you might have seen him charging back through, because at the end there, he was almost 3 seconds quicker than the leaders, but it wasn't enough in a 10-lap Superpole race. Nicolo Budiga, the number 11, garage door down. We're not going to be getting into here, are we? And he was furious. Oh, we are going to be getting in. Look, Big Brother is watching, candid camera, because we're on the onboard camera and the debrief ongoing. You can see Chaz Davis there on the left-hand side. They'll know they're on TV now because there are screens just up above the bike here. Just talk us through it, Shaky. What might have gone wrong here?
Well, you can only assume it must be something electrical, because you can hear the bike running here. James mentioned maybe it had been stuck in gear or something, but then you heard Nicolo backshift there because he was trying to get out of the way. Whether or not the bike had gone into some sort of funny wet map or the pit lane speed limiter had cut in, I don't know, but it's just a very, very, very strange and very unfortunate situation for Nicolo. Obviously done such a good job this weekend. Absolutely dominated yesterday in the dry and was looking really good in morning warm-up too.
Oh dear, a shake of the head then. So it's bittersweet again, isn't it, for Aruba Ducati? Yesterday, Buliga was up there dominating while Bautista crashed, and now James Tozen, Buliga in the pits with problems, are very frustrated, but his teammate on the podium.
He is, Greg. Alvaro, it's mixed performances so far this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like on Saturday we make big mistakes. Not mistakes, but we have one problem. But then on Sunday we come back, no? Yeah, I'm happy because today the conditions were a bit tricky, no? Especially the second part of the race was drying and there was like a line, no? So if you go in the line, you feel the tires are too soft. But out of the line, it was too slippery, no? So you have to choose, no? So yeah, but at the end, I'm happy because I understand well the situation, and I try to don't make mistake, try to finish the race. That after yesterday, it was important to end the race without any problems.
Great result in those tricky conditions. Congratulations, Alvaro.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, it was.
In this condition, I cannot make the slides as Friday.
No, I look forward to that in race 2.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's talking about the second corner here at Assen. He's spectacular through there. But here he is, the man of the moment. Sam Lowe's has his very first podium in World Superbikes. I know how it feels, actually, Sam. I had my very first podium in Superbikes here in Assen about 45 years ago, you know. But Sam, how does it feel, buddy?
Yeah, really happy. Obviously, the weekend has been better. The race was unfortunate yesterday. I'm not saying I could have had a podium yesterday, but obviously in the wet conditions, I felt good, which was strange because end of last year I was quite slow, but warm-up I felt good. And then that race, then I got so conscious of getting a good start that I locked the front a bit into turn 1. I thought, oh no, but came through good, and yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I'm happy to be at the front, be consistent in all conditions, and you know, start to get to the front with these boys.
Took you a couple of laps, didn't it, just to get it settled in there? Was that just experience on the wet tyres on a Superbike?
Honestly, yeah, a little bit, and then I was following Alex a bit. He made some great moves, and a couple of times he made moves, pushed the person wide, and I went through. So it was the Lowe's train for a couple of laps, and then yeah, I was overcautious, but I felt a bit of pressure, honestly, after not finishing yesterday, whatever, you know. So I needed to finish as well, and you know, them conditions, if you've got that little bit in you, it does take it off, doesn't it? But then as I freed up a bit, got into the race, realised that the setting was nice, and yeah, relaxed a bit.
Your dad's here, your family's here, your kids are here. What does it mean, this podium for you?
A lot. A lot.
Thank you. Wonderful moment. Good luck in race 2, Sam. Brilliant stuff. That's what it means to these riders. There's a lot of effort going in here and a lot of risk. And we've got the race winner now, Toprak Razgatlioglu. Absolutely phenomenal performance, a champion's ride.
Yeah, I'm also surprised because this is my first win on the wet. And I'm really happy for this. I'm riding very well because I feel a little bit stressed because I'm not riding this morning. We don't have the Morse like a sticker for the tire, and we are not riding. I'm just feel the stress for this, but first lap I'm just watch the Bulega. I'm learning a little bit. I understand the tire, I understand the grip, and after I'm just try to take my rhythm. Finally we did win again, this is the incredible starting the Sunday, but we will see afternoon. Also, afternoon is very important for me. 21 laps race, and I hope we are not destroy the tire like yesterday. We are just trying to do new setup for the dry condition. Looks like not coming more rain. If coming more rain, I'm more happy. But anyway, I'm just waiting the second race.
You went in blind to this race without the warm-up, with the experience on the wet tyres. It sounds like you're going to go a little bit blind into the dry race in race 2 if it does stay dry with the new setting. How does that make you feel?
You know, I'm just thinking the long race, because the long race is very important and we are taking more points there. And we are focused this. Also, we make a different setup for the race too. I hope I am feel on the bike much better in the race, because this is very important for me. You know, we will see all together. And I'm just still keep fighting. And I'm never give up, because also the Ducati is very strong here, especially the tires. I don't understand rear tire, how possible after 10 laps is drop. I don't understand, but we are trying different setup. We will see. I'm trying to fight again.
Well, the champ is back. Congratulations, Top Rat. Good luck for race 2.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Greg and Shaky.
Thanks, James. Yes, Shane, Toprak there he knows how important the starters in particular now does need to race 2 later on, because he's on pole position, aiming for those 25 points, and Buliger's going to be right down on the 4th row of the grid later.
Yeah, exactly that. He needs to try and make hay while the sun shines. But at the same time, Greg, the one thing he can't do, because that BMW seems to be eating tyres at the moment, you know, even team manager Sean Muir told us that. What he can't do is he can't go off like a scolded cat, get 10 laps into the race and end up killing his tyre again. So it's going to be an interesting race for us this afternoon.
Yeah, well, Nicolo Buliger, if you are just joining us, has just retired from that race. He was up in 2nd place, and then a technical problem hit him suddenly about halfway through. Here he is, coming in and not happy whatsoever.
Yeah, no, he wasn't happy at all, was he? I mean, it's always hard when you have a technical problem, but you know as a rider that your team's going to give you the best possible package they can, and sometimes things go wrong. It was interesting. We'll get to hear in a second. You know, he pulls in, he's not very happy, but if you listen in a second, you'll hear him complaining.
After that, he just went like, didn't he? It was almost like he was describing the pit lane speed limiter was stuck on.
It was either like a very, very intermittent electrical fault, or it was like coming back onto the pit lane limiter, because slightly after that, he's like, like the bike just wouldn't go. But now we're going to see in a second, Top Rack on screen. You know, the thing that impressed me the most, you know, he's missed the whole of morning warm-up, didn't get a single wet lap. He goes out, and within maybe 3 or 4 laps or something, you see him here like up the inside into turn 5. Nicolo Buliger bigging away at the front. Top Rack sort of found his feet. You know, it's like he said, he watched Nicolo, understood where the grip was, and with no laps at all this morning, straight through into the lead. And then basically, he done Nicolo Buliger on Nicolo Buliger, didn't he? Just checked out. He was very, very impressive.
The real greats like Top Rat, they seem to have this confidence, don't they, to just be able to go out there and know it will be okay. Why makes them so different to the others?
I think that, you know, for me, I said it earlier on in the show that, you know, when you've got a dry setting, it's always easier to go back to a wet setting. You know, there's always like a rough rule of thumb. You know, you adjust the bike this much, maybe the spring rates or maybe the compression rebound. So it's much, much easier to find a wet setting from the dry than it is to go the other way around. The interesting thing about that race, though, was, Greg, not that so much that it was a wet race, but how much it dried out at the end there. So, in essence, you could have probably got away with pretty much a dry setting, but just wet tyres. But in the beginning, it would have been more wet. So, it was a big gamble for all of the guys, and cream always rises to the top, is what they say.
I suppose if you've got less to lose, you can make more of a gamble. And Bahattin Sofoglu with the Moto X Yamaha, also Domi Agata with the GRT Yamaha, did go for intermediate tyres. And sure enough, right at the end, Agata lapped almost 3 full seconds a lap quicker than the winner, Toprak Razgatlioglu. But of course, by then it was too late, because the race was over. In theory, there won't be any more rain later, but I always seem silly saying that, because we're at Assen, it's April. You never know. I've had forecasts here before for good conditions, and then it's gone the other way. We've had forecasts for bad conditions, and it's been sunshine and blue skies. So I've learned over 10 odd years of coming to this place that you just have to look at the skies and look at the ground. Kenan Sofoglu, as Shaky said, 5 times a Supersport world champion, hands the trophies out. Alvaro Bautista, number 19, that is his fifth podium, actually, of the season already from 8 races. Sam Lowe's his first podium, and that's wonderful. And, of course, a big cuddle for Toprak and Keenan as Toprak celebrates career victory number 61, now just 2 wins behind the man on his left, Batista, for second in the record books behind only Jonathan Ray. And those wet tyres really were the name of the game here this morning.
Well, what a race we've had. It's an interesting one, and it's going to get even more entertaining. Make sure to join us shortly for the second race of the World Women's Circuit Racing. And then race 2 later on today for Superbikes. See you later. Bye-bye.